Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Big Tech Frenzy. I'm in a good mood, okay? Markets are up, stocks are green. I am happy. That's how it usually works, right? That's how investors usually think, I guess. I'm going to be buying some new stocks this week. You know, we got SoFi up for grabs. I think I'm definitely going to be dabbling into that, and I'll talk more about that for sure. But I might also be buying into some PayPal stock. Excuse me. PayPal stock. Anyway, so that is immediately a little bit of a leaked entry into what we will be talking about. PayPal, SoFi, potentially dabbling into Chime stock if and when they give us earnings. I know that it is much more expensive than SoFi on a multiples perspective based on their growth rates. Oh, wow. I just ate, so I got hiccups like crazy. But what's going on, Dorso? Lisa, Willy Wonka, the great and powerful Willy Wonka. How you doing? Happy birthday, Tanner. Thank you so much. It's not my birthday, though. They hired an SVP for consumer groups. Is that today? Did they do that today? Let's go take a look right now. Early jump in on this show, but we ended up listening to Palantir today earnings call. I mean, expensive company, but wow, you put up that type of growth. Like, I understand how the market is able to model out for further growth whenever you're getting, what was it, 48+% growth year over year, higher margins than what you were getting at before, free cash flow growing, no debt. It is an exciting business, but wow, is it expensive. I didn't see the SVP for PayPal. I'll check X, but I don't want to have to go on to LinkedIn to start looking through job posts. Ben Volk. Yes, you are correct. Diego Scotti ended up showing off a new addition to the PayPal team. Welcome Ben Volk, the new SVP and GM of PayPal Consumer. Wow, that is an important name to be added. Now, we could look at Ben Volk really quickly on LinkedIn. What's his background? Someone said that he's got an interesting background. Google. This looks to be like the right guy here. Full-time at Google, vice president and general manager for Google Pay and Google Wallet. I mean, that is who you want. Before that, GM for Google Pay. Before that, payments for Amazon, payment acceptance and consumer experience. Yeah. The bro has some experience in payments. Jeez. Yeah, that is a good one. Okay, little bit of Google Wallet experience coming in to now join PayPal. Now, he was at Amazon for 15 years, only at Google for 2. I wonder the price that they paid for him. What makes you jump Google's ship 2 years in? Is it the stock price? You know? Little bit of acceleration on so no, I have not bought a PayPal today. I might buy it this week. But I didn't end up buying PayPal today. I'm not currently buying Nubank right now. But yeah. If Amazon gets down to 200, load the boat. What are we at right now? I could be known to be purchasing some Amazon shares. 211.65, down another 1.44% today. This is another one that I'd look to gain a little bit more exposure in as well. Let's check in the after hours really quickly. By the way, Joby up 18.82%, past $20 per share. They're acquiring Blade, so they'll get some new routes and partnerships there. and knock out a competitor. Not too bad. Stock absolutely loved the move, up 18.8% on the day. And you know what? Tevis didn't even buy this. He'd be up so much. Year to date, 147%. 147%. What are the other ones that were year to date? I know Robinhood was there. We don't even have to look at that. They are very, very high up there. By the way, Broadcom to exclusively supply ASIC chips for Meta's next-gen consumer AI servers. Just for those that were interested in the chip space, I know Sigig in chat will be very excited about that Broadcom deal. Figma tanked today. Yeah, I have not been following these plays too often, but we all knew that had to happen. Down 27%, now at 88.60. Who would have thought to have purchased that, whatever it was, 142.90. Jeez. Sounds like you're not doing a Shift 4 earnings call tomorrow. I am going to be doing a Shift 4 earnings call tomorrow. I might start it. The call will most likely be at 8 o'clock, so I'll probably go live at like 7:40 just to look at the numbers for 20 minutes and then jump over. We also will listen to Lemonade, or at least review the numbers. And then from there, the close stream will be AMD, Upstart, SMCI, Toast, those names. Yeah. But pre-market, I'll be listening to Shift 4, which is pre-market. All right. And then we'll be listening to hymns at night, or when the market closed. I made your night. Jeez. By the way, let's get the chat going. I didn't mean to take the chat off screen. My apologies. SoFi up 2.7% on the day. A little bit of a sell-off in the last 5 days, just because the market, potential macro uncertainties. But overall, it's now looking like we are going to get some, I mean, in my opinion, I don't want to say pretty obvious, because in the case that it doesn't end up happening, boy, oh boy, will I look like I have some egg on my face here. But I really do think that we're going to get a rate cut this September, and then potential other rate cuts through the rest of the year, through the rest of the end of the year here, which could be 2 to 3 rate cuts as well. That will bode very well for SoFi. Now, guys, I don't want to leak my next video, but I'll have a video coming out tomorrow on SoFi, the full earnings results. But honestly, I could do a separate video just on, I could probably show it off. Let me prepare something for you guys, just because it was a separate addition that I sort of included on my video, which is just how I think that they're sandbagging so incredibly hard on all of their earnings. So let me just prepare this for you guys here just for 1 second, and then I'll pull up what I'm thinking about full year 2025. Now, I'm going to be hiding some of the things because I don't want to break out my quarterly expectations just yet. But by the way, in order for me to sound bullish without sounding too bullish, okay, I had to be very conservative here. Now, you could be a lot more bullish than what I'm seeing. So this is not me being like, oh, if all goes right, this is what I expect to see from SoFi. No, I'm not doing that. What I'm about to show you is actually very conservative, yet destroys SoFi's earnings predictions for 2025. So let me just full screen this here. And okay, 1 sec. I have to make this a little bit viewable for you. And then hide this. Bang. Okay. And I'll pull this up. Okay. So for SoFi, as we know, I do all my predictions here. I talk about, what member growth is going to look like, products, financial services, lending, all of these nice products here. Okay. And then this is what we've seen so far from Q1 of 2024 all the way to Q2 of 2025, and they have just dominated. I mean, what I'll show off in my earnings review for SoFi is just how well they have done in Q2. It was an unbelievable quarter. There's nothing you're going to find that isn't just above exceptional. Now, we don't have the 10Q yet, so new details. The way that SoFi shows off their quarter is a little bit different than other companies. We get new details about 2 weeks after their earnings release. So we don't know really their held for sale portfolio. We don't know their FICO score breakdowns for credit cards. We don't know some of their risk-based asset information that they have. So just stuff like this, right? Additional details that we have seen the stock run on or sell off based on whenever we do get a 10Q, because it changes analyst perceptions of the business, which, by the way, we just got an upgrade today. However, I was looking through, before we look at that, let's go to try to preface exactly what I'm looking at. We can even go to windowed here. That might make it a little bit easier. If we go to their press release and then go down to guidance, what we end up seeing is two things. Okay, so this is their guidance for 2025. Okay, they just updated this to show a 30% year-over-year growth rate on revenue. Okay, adjusted EBITDA of 960 million, net income of 370 million, diluted EPS of 31 cents, and tangible book value growth. However, I didn't even make an assumption on that. Business expectations. Member growth of at least 3 million, approximately 30% from 2024 levels. I have a big problem with this, but we'll talk about that. And then the other ones that I also had problems with, because this I also agree with, but lending net revenue growth of low double digit to teens, financial services net revenue growth of 60 to 65%, and tech platform adjusted net revenue growth of double digits to teens, and then loan growth of single digit billions. Okay. If we go ahead and take a look at lending, financial services, and tech platform, and we add up this growth, it doesn't even equal their 30% growth rate. 30% growth rate is much more bullish than taking these three segments and looking at them together. So they're sandbagging. I don't see a way where they get a double digit to teen growths in lending and still get 30% growth. 60 to 65%, try 80. I mean, these are way too low. So let me show you. I had modeled out their Q3 and Q4 growth rates very basically. Now, I'm not going to go through all of them here. So don't worry about website traffic right now. Obviously, we can look at it, but that's not, I'm just removing that so then we don't get distracted. Okay. Whenever you look at what they expected from 2024, and then my assumptions today for full year of 2025, what we end up seeing is 31% growth. Now, I was being very conservative. Okay. I could see it actually coming in much more than that. But this includes, you know, another $100 million of corporate revenue as well. I mean, like we're looking conservatively here. Okay. Financial services, I once again was being very conservative. I showed zero growth in average revenue per user. Okay. I ended up getting nearly 80% growth. So how do we get down to 60 to 65%? With zero financial average revenue per user growth on financial services. By the way, it hasn't happened. We have not seen that. Lending, 21% growth. What do you mean low double digits to teens? I'm seeing 21% here. Technology platform, this one I did have to be a little bit more bullish. I was not as conservative as what I want to be, but they're saying low double digits to teens. I put it right there, 13%. Okay. Adjusted EBITDA, 55%, or sorry, 1.03 billion, not 960 million. So they're, not this one. Their assumption is 960 million. It's a big sandbag. Like it actually comes out to about $1.035 billion. Net income. This is also where we see a lot of the sandbag. is I did include the dilution, which happened 8 hours after this report, where we know for a fact that they could just use this money to pay down high cost debts of 5 to 6%, okay, and end up bringing this EPS actually up to closer to 32 to 33 cents. I include the smallest level of beats. I mean, tiny. Their average beats are like 33 million. I think I did less than 10 per quarter, okay, which would be the smallest net income beats they've ever seen. And yet we see a 30% year over year growth at net income of 442 million, not 370 million. Like, this is completely different. And then even on new members, I think I had increasing rates of new member growth. So I forget what the exact targets were, but essentially we're looking at closer to about, and by the way, I was being extremely conservative, 3.4 million new members. About a 30% growth rate, not a 16% growth rate of what they're suggesting here by saying, hey, we're going to do at least 3 million. You know, that's not true. And by the way, I love how they, so this is approximately 30%. Do not get that distracted with year over year growth. What I'm looking at here is the amount of new member ads between the difference between the new member ads of 2024 and new ads of 2025. That was 16%. Not a 16% total, or not a 30% total ad over the amount of members that we had, but over the growth rate. Okay. So that's very different. But like, if we take a look at, so what did they say? At least 3 million. So we have 3 million there, and they saw, so we've seen 1.3 million. That is what we need to have throughout the. So they're saying about 690,000 new members. Oops, sorry. Let's just blow this up really quick. And, well, not bold. That's how many new members that they think we need to get per quarter in order to reach their 3 million target. 690,000 new members just to reach their target. We're not doing that anymore. Sales and marketing have ramped. We're doing much higher numbers. The flywheel only gets more impressive the more members we have, so that it'll be harder and harder to hit those targets before. Let's wipe all that away. Okay. Like this, they are setting themselves up to just do exactly what they've done every quarter, which is just unbelievable sandbagging. They don't let Wall Street be bullish enough because every Wall Street analyst is still saying, oh, you know what? We've improved earnings per share. We now think it's going to be 30 cents through the end of the year. By the way, Wall Street's not even management's not even saying 30 cents. They're saying 31. They've never missed, and they just did a massive deal to increase EPS. Where are you getting your numbers? So, in my opinion, if I know that we're going to continuously beat over time, I think that the stock price should be higher. That's exactly what Palantir is doing. That's what Hood is doing. That's what many companies that have execution credit. Okay. So there's, many people say, oh, well, if a stock has the chance of doing bad, that's an execution risk that they have to perform at a level that maybe they're not going to do in order to exceed these goals. So that's an execution risk. But what if they have a record, a history of beating every single time by massive margins? And it's not like I'm new to tracking this business, by the way. I mean, we can just take a look at what the guidance beats have been. Let me try to blow this up for you guys as much as possible. The clarity in which we know that they are going to beat is recorded. They beat every quarter. In Q1 of 2021, they beat revenue by 23 million, 19 million, 27 million, 2.9 million, which that was close. 39 million, 21, 18, 20, 25, 13, 30. The numbers go on and on and on. Not only that, they get bigger. The difference gets wider. $64 million, $35 million, $60 million. Okay. And that same sort of history of beat and raises happens on the EBITDA side as well. And every single quarter, they raise their expectations. So the original guidance from, Q4 of 2023 of what their expectation was for full year of 2024 is nothing like how we finished out the full year. The expectation for SoFi in Q4 of 2024 for full year of 2025 is nothing like what we've seen so far. We've had to raise guidance twice, okay, after beating them every single time. So what are we doing here? How many times do we need to throw up a quarter that does 7.55% beat on revenue, 21% beat on EBITDA, and a 50% beat on net income? These don't happen. Amazon is pushing their own Trainium chips over NVIDIA GPUs, isn't having financial benefit. They thought it would. Also, AWS backlog speaks to weakness in their infrastructure build out versus Microsoft. Add to NVIDIA JS. Absolutely, I will. I think that could be a smart take, the prioritization of their own chips is actually slowing down their ability to deploy at the speeds that they need. And that's where Amazon has gone wrong, right? Is that their ability to stand up capacity is not nearly as fast as what Microsoft or GCP has done as of recently. Trump will be going on CNBC tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Should be an interesting market open. Wow. Trump on CNBC. That's a big one. That's cool. Wait, I can't see GS's comment. No, it was from a while ago. It was from 7:40. 14 minutes ago. Sorry, I just I was in a rant. So if you scroll all the way up, you'll be able to see his comment. Yeah, but Tanner management killed momentum, so we should sell. Shake my head at Roy. Yeah, I think that they will do absolutely fine. And once the market understands that, does Visa need to be a momentum play? Does, MasterCard or any of these? No, it's the amount of continuous beat and raises over time gives you a multiple on that stock. Now, people might not believe that they are, that company just yet. They are still a relatively newly public business, let alone, newly founded. So time will tell on that. If they continue to raise, though, the multiple will quickly get shrunk as they beat expectations. Him and hers health time to buy. I didn't review the quarter. Well, I saw that their top and bottom line, stuff like that, but I'm not a big fan of healthcare companies. Not that I'm anti them, but I think that there's real strength in markets, or there's an ability to be above the market average if you focus on a segment that you know very well. And for me, I'd like to think that is, tech names, software names, and fintech names. I research a lot about fintech. It's a very easy segment to understand, in my opinion. And then software names, because recurring revenue is amazing, low cost of operating, really amazing. So even the bad ones have really good fundamentals. I think that those are great businesses. Tanner, you're ranting, probably drove Lincoln from the room. No, he's right beside me. He doesn't want to leave often. We chill. I'm only here for Palantir. Okay. Palantir's quarter was crazy. Very exciting business if you're a shareholder. I'm not buying at these prices to follow Palantir, but I can be understanding of how good their business is and enjoy Alex Karp's speeches, because boy, oh boy, whenever he comes on the earnings calls, it is exciting whether you're a Palantir shareholder or not. I mean, the guy is like infectious. Very, very fun. Are we talking about Mercado Libre? No, I haven't had time to look at, like, I literally listened to the Palantir call, ate dinner, and then we're back to being live again. So I have not listened to their call. I was reviewing some of their reports on Fiscal AI a little bit, just looking at some of the numbers. But I haven't taken a deeper look other than just segment level, performance, which the only thing that I see that stuck out like a sore thumb here was the amount of credit revenue that ended up growing on the fintech side. A little bit weird. You don't want that to get too crazy. But overall, Mercado Libre is going in one direction here. I mean, there was some, can I say margin compression? Like they, from what I saw, they did not bring over the highest amount of EPS like what they have in previous quarters, but I didn't actually end up getting time to look into why that was. So I will be talking about Mercado Libre, just not today. 1 billion in revenue, 300 billion valuation. Well, actually, it probably opens up closer to 400 billion valuation tomorrow. I think they'll open up tomorrow around close to 390, if not higher. Tanner, if you're starting a new position between SoFi, Hood, and AMD, what do you have? If I had to pick, I hate the pick ones because I don't know. And it depends on the timeline, right? Like if you're looking out on a longer timeline, like long term, I'd pick SoFi here. Medium term, I'd pick AMD. And then on a short term, I'd pick Robinhood. That's what I think. Robinhood is such an unbelievable player, and like they're going to do well. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like the pick one type things. I like all three of those names. They're fine. Amazon, Meta, Nvidia. Nvidia is the best looking girl around right now. She's hot. D-Local, are you interested? I think I'm setting up a new series on Fridays to do little deep dives into individual companies. I think D-Local will be in an early episode of that weekly show. So I'll definitely be looking into it. Am I still buying NVIDIA? Not buying NVIDIA right now. It's about 50% of my entire portfolio. So it's just too much concentration for me in my portfolio. Although I still think it's awesome. I'm not buying a share. Let your winners run. Lurkin Luke says, I agree. Will much want to hear about thoughts on D-Local and StoneCo. I have less want to talk about StoneCo, but yeah. I will be talking about D-Local, I think. Okay. And by the way, this is probably something we're going to talk about in the next show as well. But yeah, S&P 500 inclusion. They might end up having a free slot on August 7th, the Paramount acquisition. So whenever they drop out, could Hood get in there? Hopefully. Can AppLovin get in there? Hopefully. The Trade Desk, also another name that I have in my portfolio, does earnings very soon. So we'll be listening to that this week. I want to say it's on Thursday after close. I know it's in an after close day. I just don't know if it's Wednesday or Thursday. I think it's Thursday. Yeah. Shark Ninja earnings predictions. I have not been looking too much into Shark Ninja. I have a tiny share of that business, but or a few shares in that business, but I'm not I don't have any earnings predictions. I just think they're going to do well, if that makes sense. Nobody likes to pick one. SoFi best pick 5+ years. Yeah, that was more along the lines of my midterm. Whenever I meant short, like I think 1 to 2 years, 3 to 5, 6 to 10 sort of thing. Because in 5 years, AMD could still be a very good play, in my opinion. I still think we're in the height of the build out during that time. I think that they would do exceptionally well. But I think SoFi will also do very well during that time. Looking for a pullback in AppLovin. I mean, yeah, we would all love a little pullback. Also, like, no, this was not like, I had never said that there was a meeting. Okay, people loop me in with other SoFi creators, like we all have the same opinions and information that we're sharing. I could never find this meeting. The only thing that I ended up finding on this was that they did just like a institutional meeting where SoFi's management met with JMP and a bunch of their analysts there. That's not public information. They're asking them questions for their customers, just to clarify things that have already been made public. So there's nothing that we're going to learn there until I get an updated report from them on SoFi. Now, I am on the distribution list for JMP, so I do get to see their SoFi reports and everything like this. However, I have not seen too much new. They said that they loved the quarter and it was way better than they expected, but nothing really new in terms of price targets or something like that. And that was before their meeting. So maybe they're going to do another one once the 10Q comes out. Who knows? I hope to see a real price target from them. Are you still buying SoFi? Yes. Yes, I'm back to buying SoFi. You know, you sort of model out a level of growth for a company and then you judge their fair value based on that. And so I was looking at it and I'm like, oh, okay, well, you know what? Fair value might be somewhere around $25 a share. So whenever a company's at, you know, $22, $22.50 to buy it to go to 25, it's like, is that exciting? I don't know. So usually I don't pull the trigger too much on those types of names. But after this earnings, you see an acceleration and what I think will be a continued acceleration of SoFi's growth, which does get me excited, which bumps up my fair value. Now, this is another thing that gets me excited about SoFi in the short term. Upstart is showing some pretty insane statistics right now whenever you check their channels that, like, they are seeing the most amount of activity they've seen. Like, we're talking better than 2021 levels here. Tons of website traffic. Very exciting. Okay. That gets me so excited about the lenders. You could probably take a similar bet on the lending clubs of the world, the SoFis, the Upstarts. I think Upstart is going to be a pretty interesting name to follow during earnings. Good or bad, I don't know. Like a lot of it comes down to their own underwriting ability and their ability to find questions here. But I'm just interested to follow them. Regardless if it's up or down, I'm excited to follow. After hours trading is criminal. I can't stand after hours. Why do you not like it? You just don't have to trade. You don't have to look at the stock price. You don't have to do it's tiny volume. No one can offer me any logical reason as to why pre or after hours should even be a thing. A lot of people work through the hours of, 9:30 to 4. It's pretty common work hours. So for people to stop and buy shares of companies that they like is not an option for most. So pre-hours and after hours allows people to get shares of businesses. I don't even understand how you could dislike it. Lunch breaks. Come on now. Yeah, just don't look. It literally it doesn't mean anything. I'm also a big believer that markets should be open 24/7. The same way that any other market is open 24/7. Do Pokemon cards have a time where, you buy it at one, like, do housing markets have certain hours where you're allowed to buy it? It just doesn't make any sense. 24/7 is the way to do it. And if you like the news is happening regardless, okay? It's not like they stopped the news train. Um, but yeah. 24/7 would allow for a lot of market manipulation to occur. Okay. What does that mean? Just don't sell during, if you don't want to sell during overnight hours, don't. It doesn't change the price that you want to sell your shares at. Um, well, honestly, right now, what I think it is that just the technology is not up to being allowed to. Technology is not up to the ability to do 24/7, but we're on our way, and tokenization is a big part of that. And I think that people that are soured on crypto just think that anything that even remotely involves cryptocurrency, well, not even cryptocurrency, but just blockchain in general, is somehow bad. But it is just a massive upgrade in terms of an ecosystem that runs itself. Okay. Yeah, market manipulation only matters if you're trying to day trade. I do agree. If you're worried about that and the, you know, people that have yeah, have stop loss. Okay, well then don't set your stop losses. I never like that's all like at what point whenever I'm holding SoFi would I be like, "Oh, you know what? I'm going to set something up so then if something falls by 10% that I'm going to dump my position in SoFi without ever knowing what I'm holding." So I don't really agree with a lot of those 99% of my audience is definitely not traders. I'm pretty adamant on the idea that I don't day trade and I never throw up charts and show off like the fluctuate or like I'm not building Fibonacci sequences and all this stuff. I wouldn't imagine that I would be even tolerable to watch. I'm an investor. Yeah. If people do want to trade, then like that's fine. But I'm not going to change the content that I make to try to like this is just the way that I look at businesses, and I've grown an audience just doing me. So I hope that I'm offering some level of quality to you guys, even if you are trading or buying and selling positions that are different from me, or if the information that I'm giving, like you take a different takeaway from what I'm telling you from the information. I love that. Tanner always shows moo charts. Yeah, because it's just what I've gotten used to. I like I really like it now. And then trying to switch away from something, like if you go over to like even Weeble or like, okay, so for me, the problem is I need something that's not just good to use, but also easy for the audience to be able to see it. So it's a little, my use case is not the same. Like I don't even have any money with Moo, but I use the Moo charts because the font is big, the coloring is really like, it's just easy, very visible on screen. Tanner, you are enough. Thanks, Matt Flo. Good to see you. Yeah, we got a lot of long-term viewers in here. B-Dubs, Lisa, Matt Flow. The people are in. Hims isn't going anywhere. I would venture to bet that Hims had an all right quarter and that people like that this would not be their last quarter or some sort of imminent death on that business. However, my understanding is that the market did react negatively to their earnings, down 13.5%. Who else reported today? Mercado Libre is down 5.8%. That one I do have a share of, which stings. But really, tomorrow morning is going to be focused on this name right here. Palantir up 4.5%. That's incredible. $168 a share is what it closed out post-market at 8 o'clock at. That is insane, guys. This will be a $400 billion business. Wow. Wow. But I'm actually curious. Like, do you guys buy Palantir at this level? Like, are there DCAers? I'm sure there's a good community of Palantir DCAers here. But, you know, is that what you guys do there? Are we buying lump sums of Palantir at 168? And I'm not even anti Palantir. I just think it is expensive. Their earnings are insane. The earnings are insane. No value at this level? Well, I agree. And from time to time, I do like to buy some value. So I think this week I'm going to be purchasing PayPal stock. I'm looking into it. I'm getting a little bit excited. And I'm able to buy this company if we take a look here at the stock price really quick, even just over the last month. I mean, we've fallen back down. So this was earnings at 78, and then disappointing earnings brought us down to 68. And the earnings weren't even bad at all. I mean, the so-called dying company, if we take a look at it from a quarterly perspective, and just drag this out a bit, you can actually see we are still up and to the right. Okay, compounded annual growth rate of about 7% on revenue. And we probably will actually reaccelerate growth next year into the double-digit range. Okay, Braintree right now is starting to turn around. So you're going to see some better results expected in Q3, and then even better results from there in Q4. Okay, that's just on top line. Whenever you start going through and actually looking, by the way, they had a ton of growth in their other value-added services. So mainly from credit, so people are still cautious, but going from essentially stuck at 780 million a quarter and then jumping up to 850 quarter over quarter was quite the expansion on, total other or revenue on other value-added services. But active customers continues to climb. We're now adding about 2 million per, like this was dropping. So I understand the bear case before. 433, 431, 428, 426, 427, 429, 432, 434. We're climbing. 436, 438. This is not dying anymore. And actually, I think 438 was a new high if we end up going back. Yeah, it was. So that was another new high on total active customers. It's not the fastest growth rate. This is not a fast-growing business, but really, the reason why I'm going to be buying this business is what lies in the multiple of this stock. So if we take a look at the stock price, we have fallen over the last little bit. Okay. Even recently, go back from March 23rd till now, we have not seen the recovery that you would expect. Okay. So that's real. But if we go ahead and take a look at the buyback yield And actually included on that buyback yield is actually a debt pay down. So we can take a look at shareholder yield or buyback yield, whatever way you want to look at it. The buybacks is at now 10% of the total cost of the business per year. They buy back 10% of the business. Okay? Shareholder yields above that because they're paying down their debts. So this is incredible. If you look at a price to sales, price to earnings, price to free cash flow, we can look at EV to sales, anything we want, okay? We'll look at operating or EV to operating income here in a sec. But this stock has not traded like this in a very long time. I'm going to take off price to sales. It's killing it here. But this is a cheaper business than it's been in a very long time. In fact, PE ratio, if we go ahead and let's just add a bottom to this and we are getting close to some of the cheapest prices that this stock is traded at on a price to earnings ratio, which was 12.8 times. We're now at 14.5 times. And by the way, we had recently adjusted back in the beginning of the year in January to 23 times. So this stock does have the ability to trade from 14 times to 23 times. That's multiple expansion, okay, on PayPal in short order. It fluctuates a lot. If there's any change in the narrative of this business, I think that it'll shoot higher. Okay. I think whenever you look at PayPal World, Pay with Crypto, PayPal Fastlane, which are all their new big initiatives right now, these are not initiatives to grow revenue by an additional 1%. Like, I really do think like PayPal World could be something that like doubles their revenue. like you have 438 million users, active users, and you're expanding that to over 2 billion. If that starts to pick up speed, it could also incentivize merchants to sign up more for PayPal because there's a massive customer base of international purchasers. Okay. Like, let's talk PayPal. Sorry. PayPal. I think I might start, dabbling in this company for a quick turnaround in the stock price. Now, I could be wrong. But since we talked about this for the first time last night, we have started to, we're up $1.18 already. And I don't think payments are dead. I don't think we're seeing that. Why not just avoid it? Well, I know the company very well. So a little bit of buy what you know. I've been able to make money on this stock before. I feel like a little bit of a gut reaction as well. It's like whenever I feel like I see a bottom or close to a bottom on this stock, the hairs on my back get excited. At 90, I was not as excited because I'm like, oh, you know what? We might get to 120, but now it's a little bit riskier at the 20 times multiples. Now we're down here with the tobacco companies, like the companies that are not even growing, but potentially even shrinking in terms of their growth rates. And trying to price it like, Tanner, PayPal is up 79% from its inception. It's terrible. That literally means nothing. That doesn't mean a thing. Like, what I'm looking at from a company is how much they're trading today. I only care about the valuation whenever I'm buying and whenever I'm selling. I didn't own it at inception. I'm not talking about holding it back then when it's splitting away from eBay and everything like this. That's not when I was looking at the company. I'm looking at it today. Okay. Yes. Whenever I say tobacco company, I'm not just talking about Philip Morris. I was also mainly talking about Altria. I'm not talking about Philip Morris is doing great. But you also have like BTI and stuff that are not doing as well. It's been cheap for a while. Yeah, but we're nearing all-time cheap. Okay? And it does not stay near all-time cheap forever. Especially not with new management, especially not with what I think will be accelerated growth rates. especially not with operating margins that I think will accelerate due to like you don't think everyone thinks that AI is going to kill them or blockchain is going to kill them, but why can't this just help out their business? No one's betting on Visa and MasterCard to die off from those same things that are affecting their business, but everyone's putting all that multiple compression on PayPal. I don't believe it. You bought in a few months back. Now you want us to buy it to break even? What? The first time that I bought PayPal was, well, now it's a lot longer. It was about 24 months ago. Okay. So you could try creating whatever narrative you want, but I've been public in creating live streams. So the receipts are there. The first time I bought was roughly about 24 months ago. I ended up purchasing the company at about the $60 mark or 60 to, and then into the 58-ish dollar mark, and then up into the 70s. Held it and ran it up into the 80 pluses and 90 pluses, and then dumped it all whenever we saw Q4 earnings, which I did live with Crossroads. You can find that stream where I said the day of, before I sold, I said, I am selling this stock. Okay. I didn't like the guidance and I'm selling. And so I have not held it for the last 6 months. However, whenever I see the company contract on multiples, yet increase guidance. So I'm getting increased guidance, better time to where we are now. So I didn't have to wait the 6 months. I had that money in things like Nvidia and all like other plays that ended up working. And now I potentially can rotate a smaller amount, and this will be a very small play, into PayPal at a lower cost, better multiple at near lows, and hopefully try to run it back up to the 20x multiples. Hopefully try to go from, I want to try to get it at 65, something like this, on a greater pullback, especially if we see some recession fears. I'm just telling you guys how I'm going to play this before I've even played it. I've not purchased any. The only amount of PayPal shares that I have is in the community funds. Your donations that have told me what to purchase have make me have an allocation in PayPal right now. But I could potentially run this for a likely 9-month trade, something like that, where I'd hope to get, a 50% return, 80% return, somewhere around there. Maybe I am too old. I have PayPal. I still have it. But I switched most of my position with Alphabet. It is too cheap to ignore, or at least what I believe. Good luck to all. CM, I think that's a perfectly acceptable comment. That's all we can do. We try to find companies that we believe are cheap. And yeah. If PayPal doesn't buy back all those shares, their EPS would be garbage. It's propped up company, in my opinion, that's slowly dying. Okay, well, it's still taking market share. And if they didn't buy back those shares, what would they end up doing with that cash? So we don't really know what they would have done with it. But also, it's the money that they've been able to generate that allows them to continue this buyback. And it's going to continue. It's not like it was a one-time thing. So even if it is artificial, if I wait, multiple years, this company could take itself private. That does, artificial or not, that makes the stock price go up. I'm here to buy my stock price at low cost and sell them at higher costs. Just like in Noto, we trust. In Lisa Su, we trust. Add AMD for the community fund, says Payush. Absolutely. Let me screenshot that. And let's take a look at the community fund to see if we've made any money today. It was a pretty good day for SBET, so we should be up a little bit here. Now, guys, this is the community fund. This is what, through donations, if someone says, hey, you know what, put in AMD for the community fund, we add AMD to this fund. Now, AMD, I think, is already a part of it here. I'd have to see. Tell me when you spot it. We have a lot of names in this, a wide diversity of investors that have made us hold 87 names whenever you exclude the cash. Got Chime, Rocket, American Eagle Outfitters. I think that was also Payush that donated American Eagle Outfitters. Now up 31%. That's crazy. What was it on the day? Let's see. Up 23% on today alone. Oh my gosh. Payush is the GOAT. Absolutely true. But today was not a bad day. Now, if we look total, SBET's still down 48%. Okay. But I actually think we're going to see a return, a positive. I think we're going to make back that 48% a little bit. Now, I'm not buying the dip on SBET in the community fund, but I did actually purchase a little share of SBET in my own portfolio. A small little tradey bet. But I do think I like the ETH treasuries just a little bit more than the Bitcoin treasuries because you can stake the ETH and it almost becomes a little bit of a like a dividend-esque play. Tanner, it's supposed to be Piyush, not Payush. Piyush. All right, learn something new every day. He's never corrected me once. Piyush. Thank you for that. Tanner, any interest in an energy play? Chegg, well, I am interested in energy plays. I just don't know which ones to get. Now, I think Chegg is in this portfolio, not very heavily, but I am very much interested in an energy play. But I need to learn more about the space and not enough time in the day, it feels, especially whenever you're live 5 to 6 hours a day. VG, yeah. I got to get something because every single big tech name is saying that the bottleneck is no longer chips, it's energy. Okay, well, where can you demand the most premium? At the bottlenecks. If everyone wants your product, if demand outstrips supply, margins go up. I want that. Oklo keeps going up for energy play. Yeah, but so I don't know anything about them other than they're a nuclear play. But like, when are they expected to get things online and actually start selling? Because I know that whenever that happens, it'll be like a very exciting time. But I don't know actually the timeline for this. Okay. Love getting updates from the SoFi community while I'm live streaming to say, hey, you know what? We like what you're doing on the thing, but you're also wrong. But that's fine. Did we hit bottom on UNH? What are we at? Last time I checked, I felt like it was like 240. Yeah. I thought it was like in the low 230s, right? 237, 234.60 was the 52-week low. Wow. Well, this company's been around a long time, eh? You could buy the stock back in January of 1997. You could buy UNH before I was born. Anyone in chat a shareholder of UNH before I was born? December 30th, 1996 is as far back as I'm reading this. Crazy. Yo, Evan. What's up, man? Bad news can send it tumbling down with investigation. I bet that's true. Bro, how old do you think we are? I don't mean all of you. I don't think all of you have shares of UNH before I was born. But I know that we have a couple, 70-year-old viewers, maybe 80-year-old viewers that might have a couple shares of UNH for a long time. I mean, come on, that's not that crazy. Ooh, I think we're going to have an exciting call tonight with Roy and Amit. I think that's going to be really exciting. Two Palantir shareholders that feel very happy after today's report. Most of us are born after. Dude, the statistics on my YouTube channel say otherwise. The statistics say the average age for this channel, I think, is 45, if I remember correctly. 40 to 45 is what I think it is. Yeah, 46. Yeah, makes sense. 45. Do you see this? My mods are my perfect age demographic. If you're younger than me, I can't mod you. I'm fortunate. 37, 39, 33, 45, 106. New record, 51. Okay, well, I don't know if everyone's lying because I know Evan's age. So if everyone's just lying to me, then hey, we got something else. 94, 25, 23. Paul is losing his mind. He's got to go get that tested. Wife's been angry for years. Wait, I have a wife? Oh my gosh. It's getting old. 64, 57. Glad you like that one. Okay. 35. Nice, guys. Yeah. 27 still. Evan, that's what I thought. I thought we were the same age, but I didn't realize you were a absolute liar. Okay. Yeah, that's good. I always like polling you guys for your age or even that or like where you guys are from. We don't have to do all that now, but sometimes I always like to see where everyone's from and you get the widest range of like people from Europe and North America and like different, I don't know. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. The internet brings together people. Cali, Texas. Yeah. Okay. I also thought that this was pretty interesting. Henry invests, also quite a young chap, but he's been looking at Trustpilot reviews, which can be stagnant because only a certain percentage of people are throwing up reviews. However, Upstart really tries to push these. Okay. They actively try to tell people to go on there and give reviews for the loans that they've given out. And whenever you post the highest amount of reviews that you've seen, it does get me excited to see, especially whenever you look at website traffic and all the other data that we're seeing, that they are going to smash it out of the park. Now, how could they be? Are they just getting more interested in loans right now? It's not really how Upstart's business works. You need to have capital come in order for you to find customers, in order to give those banks capital to those customers. So if banks are really interested in credit right now, that is very, very interesting for SoFi. Woman, 69, Montreal. Sounds like some sort of weird password. But thank you, Monique. Appreciate you doxing yourself. 71, Bangladesh. Who else can beat that? 71, Bangladesh. We need like something cooler than that. Some 85-year-old Azerbaijani investor. Chat's turning into a dating site. Um, 72 Bangladesh. That's interesting. Okay. 71 Quebec City. Hey, you should meet Monique. She's a 69 woman in Montreal. There you go. We're making connections. Let's move on. I also saw this from Nick, who runs This Week in Fintech, which is a podcast review sort of place as well. But he just recently said this on X. I thought that this was so interesting. Posted this, hey, thank you for being a valued member. We love that you picked the Chase Sapphire Reserve, which is an unbelievable card, but they've also increased the annual fee on that card. I think it's to $800 per year now. And of course, if you're paying $800 a year, they can send you out some cool little swag and everything with it. And he said, I'm guessing Chase is seeing, lower spend after announcing that their Sapphire Reserve membership fee has gone up because they're sending out a bunch of retention gifts. Now, he ended up switching over to the Robinhood Gold card, which gives 3% cash back. And he's very open to suggestions if other people have cards with solid bonuses. This isn't a sponsored post or anything. I'm just trying to find a card with good rewards. But he's choosing the Robinhood Gold card, and he's asking for suggestions of something else, because how could the best card that he thinks of be just a free added card? Open to your feedback, but let's freaking go. Vlad Tenev in the comments asking, hey, you know what? We appreciate you picking us as your primary driver now, but how can we make it even better? And Nick actually replied and said, hey, you know what? I'm a big card enthusiast. These are my pros that I love about the thing, and here are my cons. And the cons were pretty simple. I mean, it was the same thing, just written multiple times. Transactions stay pending for too long, and also hard to understand my balance at a glance because pending transactions take too long. So if they can figure that out, it seems like he's going to love that card. Tanner, do you have a SoFi credit card? I am from Canada, so I don't have any SoFi products or Robinhood products or Upstart products well, I do have PayPal, but I'm in Canada, so I want them, but I can't have them. Horrible. I thought that my Amex Platinum 700 fee was steep. I think that's what it is. Maybe someone can correct me, but I think it is. I did a competition portfolio last year, made 25% of it Robinhood, and just held that portfolio for the end. Yeah, I mean, that's got to be good. Tanner, when is Robinhood coming to Canada? Probably very soon. Very soon. 2026, probably, at the latest. The reason is that they acquired a company called WonderFi, and they've already said that they want to use that as a way to get into the Canadian market. It also allows them to get into markets like Australia as well. But if it's anything like their expansion in Europe, they're essentially just going to tokenize American stocks, offer that for commission free, add on a bunch of other new tools, and slap on a Robinhood crypto tag onto a traditional brokerage and call it a day. I can't wait. I really can't wait. No, Classic, I believe you. I just don't know if I got the Chase Sapphire Reserve cost wrong. I think it's $800. But boy, oh boy, is that a great card. The MX Platinum is good too. I mean, those are the classics. 632 people watching, yet only 116 likes. Yeah, do what Evan does. Like the stream, ladies and gentlemen. Got my SoFi debit card in the mail, and it feels really good. What does that mean? Is it made out of a different material? What does that mean? SoFi is actually the company that issues the card. They don't go to another business. It's just them. The gold card is 3%. Don't listen to the crazy comments online that say if you redeem it for a certain, like, just take your cash back out. You don't have to pay balances. Paying balances is weird anyway. Just put it in your account, and then that'll be, making 4%. That's perfectly 3% cash back. Are we getting Robinhood when it comes to Canada versus Wealthsimple? Well, I don't know what they have to offer. This is the answer, okay? If we get a half-baked version of the Robinhood experience, like what the UK got, I'm sticking with Wealthsimple. If we get the version that is in the United States, APYs, index options, futures, everything, the whole 9 yards, okay? Credit cards going into prediction markets and everything, I'm switching over to Robinhood. But that's probably not what I'm going to get. So I'll be at Wealthsimple for a little bit, but I'll download it day one to see what it's about. I just don't know if I'm going to transfer, large bulk of my money over there. Hopefully it'll be the US version. Yeah, me too. I think so, but also probably not. Hey, Tanner, do you have a price target for Nubank? It changes every day, man. So even seeing what happened with Mercado Libre does not get me very excited for New. I think that Nubank should probably be closer to $18 to $20 without a poor macro. But Trump can make Nubank an uninvestable business. And that sucks. So 51st state probably sounds nice right now. I mean, that is one of the benefits that I never understood why people were super anti that, was just the idea of like, okay, well, we have like our telecoms, we have a complete duopoly. Wouldn't it be nice if, 5 other companies came in and all tried to compete with them? I mean, that sounds nice to me. Would it be great if more financial companies come in to try to dominate and offer more loans rather than just 5 large banks that we have here in Canada? I want competition, For anyone that's set up a business here in Canada, you just realize that, like, once you have to set up your financials and stuff like there's just no options. There's no fintechs. There's no fast-moving style. There's nothing. We don't have a version of Brex or Lily or Novo or anything like that. I just hate whenever I'm left to fewer and fewer options. Now, the population's so freaking small, so I get it, but Canada would be the 48th poorest state if we let them in. There's not a chance that would be the case. Not a chance. We're still 40 million people with, some pretty exciting tech companies, but yeah. I do know the statistics on the individual provinces do not outweigh your individual states, but that's mainly currency conversions, like problems, stuff like this. We have a weak dollar compared to US dollars. But also that would improve with US companies coming up and offering competitive, competitive like payments for employees. It'd be easier for companies to set up offices in Toronto. A lot of really big companies do that, but not smaller growing ones. Tanner, any thoughts on Salesforce? It's a good buy now, considering the stock at its lows. I mean, I am a fan of Salesforce. I have nothing bad to say about that. I'm a shareholder. Yeah. Global, dude, I have genuinely thought about that. I'm like, if there is global warming, Canada real estate's going to be sweet. I definitely have thought about that. Palantir going to 400 billion market cap with 4 billion in revenue, definitely trimming. Yeah, I mean, 100 price of sales is expensive, especially whenever you can buy PayPal for less than 2. But I get it. I get it. What is their price to sales? Oh, sorry, 2.2 right now. Canada GDP would be 4th in the United States. Yeah, that makes more sense. Can we look at Chime? Absolutely. So, Chime right now, the only problem with looking at Chime is I'll literally show you. So let me bring up Fiscal AI again. By the way, if you guys are looking at data aggregators, there's literally not a better name. Like the cost for Fiscal AI gives you a Bloomberg terminal at 100th the cost. But this is all the data that they have. Total revenue. Wow, what a chart. Okay, because we've only seen their S1. So as we get more quarters, that'll fill out more data. Now they have released charts like this. So we can see purchase volume on a quarterly basis over time. But even then, we still are missing so many points of data to fill in a lot of other things. So we have some things, but like this company just doesn't have any report yet. We haven't even heard an earnings call. So whenever a company goes public, they don't have to speak to anyone. There's no analyst Q&A for us to go off of. At least that's public. So I'm very interested to hear their call. I want to listen to it so badly. Hear about what they're working on in the business. I might become the biggest bull ever. I might realize that, Chime's actually doing things way better than SoFi. But from the financials, it doesn't look like that at all. But I still want to take a look at them, follow the company. Yeah. Don't know. Have we talked about Nubank already? Yeah, to some degree, just that I'm worried about the macro. The US makes Nubank look like their business is doing poorly. But I still am excited to see their quarter, and we'll be listening to it live. Chime is trash? Yeah, but I don't have enough data to determine that. So if it is, that's fine. But I cannot wait to listen to their call. I think that's Thursday night as well, which is the problem because they picked such a popular day to report earnings that there'll be other names that I also want to listen to. Like, not only is Chime reporting, but so is Block, so is MP Materials, so is Pins, so is Rocket Lab, so is SoundHound, so is TTD, so is Twilio, so is Take-Two, so is Instacart, so is Monster. It's a busy day. Sezzle, StoneCo. I don't know. Taco trade for new? Maybe. A little bit harder. I feel like I don't know if there's a lot of Chinese trades for Taco. I don't know if there was. That's not something I've looked into. If there was, and there was a lot of people that made a ton of money trading Chinese equities as sort of Taco trades, then I would be more interested in looking at Nubank in the short term for some sort of Trump pullback type event. But I don't know of the history of that for like what he might consider like really annoying adversaries. Someone needs to stop it. Honestly, quit it. Evan, Apple is not the coolest company in the world, okay? Stop trying to bring down NVIDIA because yours is lacking in artificial intelligence. They should have bought more GB300 NVL72s, and maybe you guys would still be in the game. That's what I think. You should join me in Rocket at some point if we pull back. Yeah, I think that could be arranged. I think that the home loan market is exciting, but also that's the great thing about SoFi is like SoFi might dominate in that space as well. And I don't think people really realize how well SoFi has done in the markets that they've entered. People look at it as a small fintech. I mean, they own 60 to 70% of this private student loan market, 60 to 70%. In the personal loan market, they own over 15%. How many lenders are doing more than 15% of the personal loan market? Okay. These are big lines of business, not nearly as big as credit cards or home loans. But the next ones that they will want to get into are those two ones. And if they do try to pick up steam, the speed at which they could grow could be, massive. Tanner, I said 48th poorest. That's number 4. You had it backwards. 48th poorest? 48th poorest sounds like at the bottom. Still, even as you write it, I'm still confused. But I believe you, Matt Flo. I believe you. And also, how is that 4th? There's 50 states. It would be 51. Miri. Shift 4 is a bunch of criminals. Too many SEC violations and lawsuits for me to touch them. All right. Bunch of criminals. Tisk, tisk. Can we talk Shift 4? I'd rather talk about it tomorrow because we'll have more information. I don't really have anything to add. There's a fun little thing that you can do with Shift 4 that I love that they do, and I wish more companies did it, especially in B2B businesses where it might be harder to track, Shift 4 downloads versus it is tracking app downloads or website traffic for, like Robinhood or SoFi or something. What you can end up doing is typing in Shift 4 on X, and they have all their salespeople post their sales on X, which is pretty interesting. So you can just go down the line and just see like, oh, this new company 9 hours ago is now live on SkyTab POS, which is their hardware. Okay. This company is now live with SkyTab. This company in New Jersey just made the switch to SkyTab. Welcome the railway to the Shift 4 family, a recent open bar. Welcome to SkyTab, 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 SkyTab. And this is all 2 hours ago. It's pretty interesting. 6 hours ago, August 1st. Yeah, just fun little things that you can track the developments, and they'll talk about that on the call as well, as how they have everyone post their Shift 4 sales on X. Pretty interesting. Are you a hockey fan? No. What's Shift 4? Shift 4. It's Jared Isaacson's company, the past nominee for NASA. Before he was a space enthusiast, he was a payments enthusiast. And he created a company that's growing pretty fast and taking a lot of market share in the payment space. I use it every day in a restaurant and love the product and services of Shift 4. Sweet. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been an hour and a half of a 30-minute long show. We had a lot of fun here. Let me make sure that I didn't miss any. Yeah, I did. Okay, Nathan, sorry, I missed your donation here. Thanks for getting me interested in NVIDIA. I never paid much attention because I thought I was too late, but listening to you talk about it convinced me to get back into it in April. Nathan, that's freaking awesome to hear. Thank you for the donation, but honestly, you made the jump. You deserve every dollar of it. But yeah, April was a slamming by. I had to step in and say some things because I'm not going to let a company get sold off from 150 down to $88 or whatever it dropped down to because people thought that DeepSeek was going to be a problem or whatever they were worried about. It was honestly completely overblown. I thought I was the only one screaming about it. You had Wall Street analysts talk about how, oh, this is $100 stock by next year. I'm glad they were all wrong. Okay, 4 months later, we're at 180. And looks like we're pushing higher. So it does turn out that the largest and smartest models need a lot of freaking compute. That's a great thing to see. Now, we have another live stream at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and a pretty interesting SoFi video to come in the next 24 hours. So if you guys are interested in that, hit the subscribe button down below. But until next time, I do appreciate all you guys coming out. It's an honor to talk stocks with you guys. And hopefully I've helped in any sort of way. Bye for now.